We'll show you appropriate technology in Bali. East Timor finds the spring of living water. And Howard Malmstadt is remembered in this issue of Global Perspective.
Access to safe water and sanitation are universal needs which are basic to life. In some parts of the world, there is plenty of water, but it is often full of industrial pollutants or diseases. Drinking and sometimes even bathing in contaminated water can lead to all sorts of health problems. These include cholera, parasites, infections, blindness, and diarrhea. In other places, there is hardly enough water to sustain life. For example, in recent years, the Sahara Desert has been advancing at an alarming rate, eating up lands which were previously fertile. Rain only falls during a 3-month period. Drought and soil mismanagement have produced an extremely harsh environment in which to live. In parts of West Africa, only half the villages have their own wells. So women and children must walk up to 5 or 6 kilometers to get water. Sometimes the water used for washing and drinking has been contaminated upstream. Bacteria and diseases are passed in an endless cycle between humans and animals. Some places, taps are shared by hundreds of people who are at the mercy of those who decide when the water is turned on and when it is not. In many Asian and African cities, almost half of piped water is unaccounted for, exasperating already strained resources. Clean water is a basic human necessity for health and development. When it is lacking, people are forced to carry burdens which God never intended. How can we possibly respond?
Hello and welcome to this issue of Global Perspectives. Water affects every living thing on the planet. It's essential for life. This past September, the UofN hosted the Synergy Conference in Singapore. They devoted a full day to the issue of clean water because it's a point of passion that has come to the forefront in YWAM and the UofN. 1.1 billion people have no access to clean water. It affects much of life, especially when it's not easily available. If we are going to be holistic in our approach to missions, clean water will be one of the most important issues we address.
let me tell you a story from West Africa. These water basins weigh as much as 80 pounds when filled. Carrying them 10 or 12 miles, as many women do, leaves little time for anything else. The women do it because drinking water is the most precious commodity in the developing world today, and millions of women and children struggle daily just to collect it. Typically, though, the water is not safe water. It is, however, the only water. And despite all their efforts to obtain it, many of these villagers fall sick or even die, especially the children. These ladies have gotten up at 3 a.m. to come, and then they'll spill the water to start over. In the third world, every hour of every day, 250 children die from contaminated water. A fact that makes clean water as precious as life itself. Throughout the decade of the 1980s, a major international effort was launched to improve access to clean water. Well drilling efforts concentrated on putting in wells and installing pumping equipment. In the 1980s alone, governments and international aid organizations spent $70 billion on such projects. But as soon as the water surfaced, so did other problems. The new wells were supposed to bring help to the villages, but instead they brought frustration. Broken and abandoned pumps now dot the African landscape and many parts of the world. Skeletons of a dream deferred. Each of these wells cost over $10,000. But in some areas, 80% of them no longer work. What can we learn from such poignant symbols of failure? What can we see, in this case at least, is that without relationship, technology hasn't solved the problem. Government came in, they drilled the pumps, they went home, the pumps broke down, the women went back to their water holes. For lack of understanding, my people perish.
Bruce Lee is a YWAMer who has spent the last several years traveling the world teaching local villagers how to install and maintain water systems. His pumps are a good example of appropriate technology. They can often be manufactured right in the local community. They're inexpensive. They last for years with very little maintenance. We want to show you the story of one village that took Russ up on his offer to improve their water supply.
Specializes in appropriate technology for village development. Born and raised in a village of Sangatan on the island of Bali, he's no stranger to these mountains and picturesque hill country. Russ is making a visit to a village just near where he was born, the neighboring village of Gabon. He knows that the people there face continued health problems through lack of clean water.
It's a strange feeling going back to your old home country. You hope to see everything just the way it always used to be. But somehow, you know there's going to be some changes. Apart from a few new houses made from bricks, the rest still have thatched roof and walls made out of mud. Women still carry water on their heads, but now they are using plastic buckets instead of clay urns. The water still comes from the same irrigation channel that runs by the village. But one thing has not changed. It's still not suitable for drinking.
Idahan masang kompo, di Sumatera, di Irian, di Sulawesi itu. Ini rangin dibilang di kompo punika sepenapi ya saya mang dajang nonton. Ini liu nang lah kompo anu baru-baru ane kauruang, kalau mudah, gampang jadi ngale ye, gampang.
One of the villagers would like to use the clean water from a safe, natural spring nearby, but his suggestion is met with polite laughter.
Yang mahal ni kau kira-kira ternyidang kau, sulit kira-kira kau. Terus berjoti betul kau saja ni kau, tentukan ada, dilebah aja ni kau.
Em có bật tên với chị An nhỉ? It certainly is a long way, but the water is clean and continuous. You can drink it straight without any fear of getting sick.
Ini sih bekal ini masa di kantor ada mana ni? Juga ni dekat ni mah, dia nak nyirama mana jalan. Long dia ni, ukur yuk, mukanya tegah lah. Ulung nu di beten terus naik dengan kebetulan. Perlu ukur nak gitu. Ini bagian 7 liter satu hari ya. Berarti sekitar 38 drim satu hari satu malam. Itu cukup bantu atau? Cukup.
Back in the village, Russ talks about the device that could solve some of their problems, the hydraulic ram pump, and how there could be clean, safe water for everyone.
Pagi sih dilokin pantauan dia ya, dia kan. Oh, kalau mau itu, jangan mau itu jangan.
By the pump is dependent upon the fall of water available. The water here falls about 12 meters. As it fills the chamber, pressure is built up, which, when the valve is closed, is sufficient to push the water up the hill to a storage tank. This pump lifts water 60 meters. The simplicity of the pump, its ability to be fixed by the local people, ease of construction, low cost and efficiency all make a convincing demonstration. While the pump is being constructed at a workshop in a nearby town, the villagers who are keen to be involved prepare the site for the water tank and start its construction, as the cement will take several days to dry. The ground is surveyed to find the best route to construct a water channel from the spring to the pump site. Back at the spring, others are constructing a small dam that will serve as a reservoir to supply the pump. After 2 days, the tank is dry enough to be painted, the dam finished and full of water, and the pipe installed right up to the tank. When the pump arrives, everything is ready. But first, several people are selected to be in charge of its maintenance. After some instruction in how to repair it, all that remains is to put it together. technologies like the RAM pump give people a feeling of achievement because they can construct, maintain and control them. More sophisticated technologies control the people. But those who benefit most are the women. Their daily burden has been lifted. Hundreds of pumps like this one have now been installed all over Bali and through the Pacific. Many people who have learnt the skills of construction and installation from Russ are now training others. Development of this kind brings with it a bonus benefit of clean water. For wherever people have clean, safe water, their health improves dramatically.
We'd like to now take you to East Timor. YWAM has been able to build relationship and share the gospel with a village who had no previous knowledge of God, and they were able to do this through a water project.
God started to put in my heart a desire to pray for a small community where the government haven't helped them, where there's no NGO and no Christians. And they said to me about one particular village that they call Gentiles. I was very curious by the name. Why Gentiles? He said it's because they have no religion. And I said in my heart, it's that one.
Because they're a village which runs out of water in their wells in the dry season. And there is a bore which was put down by the Indonesians in 1995, which had been destroyed. So we felt that the key was to restore the water for them so they had water permanently for 12 months of the year.
I told God, we can't do it. YWAM Ministry, we cannot do it. It's too big a vision, it's too much things to us. Never we're going to be able to do it. And then God started to share to us, this is a vision for the church, this is a vision for the body.
ARM is the Mercy Ministry arm of Youth with the Mission Australia, and we've been coordinating some churches from Australia who've come in and provided water for this community.
Over the time since August last year, the congregation has worked very hard to raise the money to provide for the tank that is behind us, and they also decided that they would form two teams that would come to Wiberic.
The whole thing took about a year and 2 months to actually come into a reality.
It had to be a pump which would work at no cost to them until they get their economy going again. So when we went back, we looked into many types of pumping equipment, and we've come up with the concept of a solar pump. So what we have now is we've just installed a solar panel and pump, and it is going to produce 2 litres per second on a sunny day. And so we're looking at producing about 1,500 gallons a day on average, 12 months a year. Coupled with that, we've invited another church down south of Sydney near a place called Wollongong, and they are coming up to install a transportable tank, and that tank has a capacity of 32,000 gallons.
Tank that is behind us that fits with the solar pump that the Peak Hill group provided for the people of Wiberic. So together our two congregations are hopefully going to provide a good supply of drinking water for Wiberic that will last all year round. Slow down, have a think, but we just really want to get going on the clearing. That's
yes,
what
we need to clean this area here.
Yeah, it's got to be cleared.
I need the chief to come here.
The local villagers, through the cooperation of the local head man, Carlos, helped to clear the site, and they have also helped us to level the site and also to erect the walls of the tank. They've been pleased to help, and the local head man has said thank you so many times through the process.
The people of Wiberic Because of this effort that they were doing, they're going to feel part in everything.
One of Peace Corps' mandates is to collaborate with other organizations such as YWAM, NGOs, governmental organizations, religious organizations, because when there's greater collaboration, we can achieve more. This is a great source of malaria right here.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not capped, so you got mosquitoes that and larvae. It worked out well that we could fulfill a need that wasn't here before.
The chief went around the streets to call everybody for a special meeting, and they all came. The students from the school, everybody came. And then I spoke about the water, about Revelation 22 and Jesus with the lady at the well. The chief of the village opened the valve, and then the water just flowed. Everybody started to cheer. It was very, very excited. And then I started to talk about the living water and the difference that Jesus can make in our lives. When I finished to talk, the chief said, now they believe that Jesus loves them because of the water pump. That was a real proof of God's love for them. We believe that through this project in Weberek that start with the water, the Weberek is going to grow in different areas. People around will see the difference and will come and ask why. And then will be our time to say, because of God, because of the miracle of the body of Christ around the world that joined together to bless this place, from this place to you all. We want to draw projects on all the 7 areas of influence, and we need the professionals to do that. As soon as they do this project, we're going to translate to the reality of Weberek and East Timor, and then we're going to start to work through this. For example, on the health area, we need to make a survey on the health of the village completely.
The work of the university students, what they're doing this year in Weberek, will provide a very important piece of long-term project that the YWAMers have in Weberek. This will create more openings to really penetrate not only the physical aspect of it, but also spiritual, relational areas of the ministry in the future.
Because in all the 7 areas of influence, we need to build a principles of the Word of God. It's been amazing to see how God put things together to happen in the end.
The stories you're seeing in this issue of Global Perspectives are just some of the highlights from the Synergy Conference. The conference also addressed the issue of children at risk and issues of justice. You can order copies of the Synergy videos at this address. This past summer, we lost one of our dearest and most respected leaders in Youth with a Mission. Howard Malmstadt was a pioneer not only in the scientific field, but in missions. He was one of the founding fathers of the University of the Nations. He was also a pioneer in water technology and spent his last 10 years developing a new water purifier. It broke his heart that many children were dying daily from diseases that could easily have been avoided by clean water. Our final story is a tribute to Howard. He will be missed.
At the start of the new millennium, University of the Nations is multiplying all over the world. Every year, thousands of students are trained and prepared to take the gospel into each and every area of society. Behind this vibrant growth, there is a faithful man that gave up his brilliant scientific career to help design YWAM's global university. For 23 years, Dr. Howard Malmstadt has been the driving force that brought the UofN to its fruitful present. In 1977, God had been speaking to YWAM's founder Loren Cunningham and a group of leaders about starting a Christian university. It was at that time that Loren met Dr. Howard Malmstadt, a prestigious professor at University of Illinois who had worldwide recognition for his pioneering research work in several areas of science and technology.
We sat in an empty room on campus, and it was in this new, a new hotel to us, but it was old and torn down. And I'm saying to this world-famous educator, a man that has written 13 textbooks that are used in graduate schools in over 100 nations of the world. And I said, Howard, God wants us to have a university from YWAM. He said, yes, I know that. And I was shocked. I said, you know that? Because I knew no one had been told yet. It was a highly secretive thing. He said, yes, God told me that last spring.
Howard Malmstadt brought his extensive experience into the development of the new university. He also brought the visionary and pioneering spirit that had been his trademark during his 30 years of scientific work.
What strikes me a lot about Howard here at the Kona campus is he'll be eating in the dining area, just sitting there eating his meal. A student will sit down next to him. Oh, hi, Howard. How are you doing, Howard? And he knows many of them by name. Many of them don't have a clue that this is a PhD scientist with numerous achievements, many awards, because he treats them as equals.
Howard Malmstadt is a name that most everybody knows within the scientific community, especially among chemists, because he was the person that really pioneered putting electronics with laboratory instrumentation.
The best way to explain how the scientific community appreciates Dr. Howard Malmstadt is by the many awards they've given him. He received the American Chemical Society Chemical Instrumentation Award, the ISA Award in Education, the ACS Fisher Award in Analytical Chemistry, the Pittsburgh Conference Outstanding Chemist Award, the Fulbright Hayes Distinguished Professor Award, the American Chemical Society Analytical Division Excellence in Teaching Award, the Anachem Award, that was in 1987. Then more recently, he's received another major award from the American Chemical Society.
Howard has an incredible visionary quality. He has always looked to the future.
A small quarter-inch chip, literally thousands and tens of thousands of electronic circuits can be etched, which will provide the computing power of a whole room full of electronics gear of 25 years ago. It is predicted that within a few years, that a child in the morning will have a home computer that he sits at to go through some of his lessons. He'll go to school, and in every classroom there will be microcomputers which he'll work with.
He created the spine of the University of the Nations. That is, the academic parts of it that would make it all work. And never before in all of history has there ever been a university that was truly global. So it's a brand new creative act that came together with the word of the Lord, but with Howard's expertise. Thank God for Howard Malmstadt.
This past September, Youth with a Mission said goodbye to Frank Naea as our president. With his wife Sonia at his side, Frank was honored for his contributions of releasing women, indigenous peoples, and youth into the mission field. Frank reiterated his commitment to that goal and then invited the audience to join him in honoring his wife and all the wives who have labored alongside their husbands and co-workers.
If you would like to dance with your wife, join me.
He then handed over the office of the presidency to Jon Dawson. Jon was honored as a white man with a brown heart, as diverse cultural expressions and colorful gifts were presented from YWAMers of various regions.
Global Perspectives is now available on DVD. It's in the American format and can be played in all regions of the world. Most PAL players can play this format as well. We're also producing Global Perspectives on VCD in both PAL and NTSC. If you would like to receive Global Perspectives on either of these formats, just email us at gp@intlcom.org or write us at the address on your screen. There is no additional charge for the subscription. And as always, if you have any questions or comments about anything you've seen in this or past issues of Global Perspectives, you can contact us at these same addresses.
Procla-Media.